So if you're watching the recorded version, don't worry. You can also join the conversation. Just post your questions and comments, and we'll be sure to go back in and respond to them. Let me take a moment just for those of you who are not our followers at the moment. Please make sure to follow Joan and Underwood Talent Development Services on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. All the links will be shared at the end of the presentation. Now, before we start our interview, for all of those of you who may be a new connection, I just want to share a little bit about tonight's featured author, Miss Joan H. Underwood. Joan is the Managing Director of Underwood Talent Development Services. She's a multifaceted professional, public sector and private sector leader, former ambassador, trainer, and coach. Joan is also the creator and originator of the Manager Level Up program. Now, Joan, I know you're very excited to share. So please tell us about the Manager Level Up and how it connects to your soon to be revealed new book.
Good evening, Valerie, and good evening to everyone who has joined us for this Facebook Live and Zoom session. And to those of you who are watching the recording, welcome. Thank you for joining for the big reveal. So how did the Manager Level Up come into being? So over the years, both as a consultant and as a coach, I came to realize that so many good people struggle mightily when they transition from being an individual contributor or a knowledge worker to becoming a manager. How do you usually become a manager? It's a reward for being good at being an individual contributor, being a knowledge worker. But the skills are so different. So we came up, and actually my niece Carissa came up with Level Up. It's to take your performance to the next level. And you know that when you become a manager, you do level up. But even within that, as a manager, we can help you to take your performance to the next level. So when we started promoting the project, we used the hashtag level up, and it morphed into the Manager Level Up. So Valerie, we're not able to hear you. You're muted.
Thank you for that, Joan.
Uh-huh.
Let me just say that again. So just wanted to share with you, everybody, you can follow the hashtag, the Manager Level Up. So you can get all the tips and tricks to help you achieve your full managerial potential. So Joan, I think the next question is very clear. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, my niece Carissa did. All right. And she's the one that inspired me to become not Ambassador Joan Underwood, not Coach Joan Underwood, but author Joan H. Underwood. And it's not just Carissa, because there's so many people who are in that same position. And then when I started to do my research, there was one study I found that said that 60% of new managers either fail outright or underperform within the first 2 years in their new role. So that's more than half. And let's remember that this is supposed to be a very exciting time, right? You've been promoted, you're a manager. There's some extra money coming in as well, there's extra responsibility. And then you find yourself struggling. You're not quite sure what's expected of you. And you're kind of learning by trial and error. You may feel out of your depth, but are reluctant to admit it because you don't want the boss to think that they made a mistake in promoting you. You don't want your team members, the folks that you're leading, your direct reports, to think that you don't know what you're doing. So it can be a very stressful time as you try to conceal the fact that you're struggling. And so this book is a resource for such persons. It's a practical guide that they can go to help them with the three most significant challenges that they encounter as they make this transition.
What I want to share, Joan, as well, is I can relate to everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
In my earlier in my career, when I became, in fact, I was a supervisor. I wasn't even a manager, and I remember my manager at the time. She shared, she said, Valerie, unless you can manage people, we cannot promote you. And and it felt like I worked very hard in terms of being able to kind of develop those skill sets. And when the opportunity came, it still felt like I was completely out of my depth. So I didn't know how great resource this is going to be for somebody like me who would have been in that position. So Joan, what are your objectives, your hopes for this book?
Well, as I indicated, the book is intended to be a practical guide. And interestingly, you shared your own story in terms of when you became a supervisor. Just today on Facebook, I had a young lady reach out to me because she downloaded the free sample. And once she read the sample, she sent me a message and she said, "This is so true." She said, "I experienced it firsthand." And she shared in detail what her experience was in her first position as a manager, and again all the stress that went with it. And unfortunately, her story in that role didn't end very well, because she asked for training because she felt that she needed to learn more. The training wasn't forthcoming. She tried to figure it out on her own. She tried to get people to help her with it, but the support just wasn't there. And so she ended up leaving the organization. So it doesn't need to be this difficult. And if your employer is not doing it, because there's some organizations which realize that they do have to provide the necessary training and support for persons making the transition. But if they don't, you have to become your own best advocate. You have to take ownership of your journey of learning and development. And this resource, I almost said the title of the book, and we're not quite there yet. This resource can help you to do just that.
I'm going to take liberties and ask everyone to consider it as your editorial mentor. So Joan, just to share a little bit more about your process, how long did it take you from concept to a finished book?
That's an interesting question, because the concept actually came about a few years ago, right? Because, like I said, I was encountering it in my coaching practice, in my consulting practice. I was seeing the difficulty. I was hearing people tell their stories about how much they were struggling. And I decided, you know what, I can do something, I can give something back and help people to navigate without all this stress, anxiety, this trauma. And so 3 years ago, I actually started writing the book. And then a couple of things happened. I got a really large assignment that took up all my time. And then I also had a family situation. So I wasn't in the most resourceful um, state of mind. And so I ended up putting the project down. And then 2020 came and the pandemic came. And interestingly, it presented an opportunity, because my consulting practice, everything tapered off when we went into a forced lockdown. And so I said to myself, what's something that you can do to keep yourself occupied and to be productive during this time? And so that's how I went back to my book baby. And interestingly, the pandemic was declared on the 11th of March. And so it was around that time that I started working on the book again. And so I'm really big on symbolism. And so the launch date for the book is December 11th, to signal the 9 months from when the pandemic was declared. And I began working on the book. So I'll be introducing my book baby to the world on December 11th, 9 months after the pandemic was declared.
So ladies and gents, remember, save the date, December 11th, for Joan's new offspring, so to speak. Well, Joan, I just did a time check and we are just about halfway there. So I think we've kept this audience in suspense
Yeah,
for
you think
long
so?
enough. I think so. I think
I
so. I mean,
agree. I agree. So
everybody, I
here's
encourage
my book,
everyone.
baby. So the title is Manager's First Aid Kit. And I just love the metaphor because, like I said, a first aid kit is something you go to prevent problems from becoming big problems. So, it's recommended that you keep a first aid kit in your home. Well, we're recommending that you keep your first aid kit close at hand, and the symbolism of the chair, because it's a manager's chair is like a status symbol. You want to be a manager, and from the old days, managers know, many of them may be working in a different environment, but historically there's the symbolism of the manager's chair. So that's how we came up with the title of Manager's First Aid Kit, and the symbolism of the chair with your kit on it. So, right where you go to work, keep your kit handy so that you can pull it out and refer to it whenever those questions come up. When you're not sure quite how to proceed, the kit is right there waiting for you.
Joan, I'm very impressed. It truly looks wonderful, and congratulations again. I think this is a good time just to check in with Pamela. And before I do that, I just want to encourage everybody: leave your comments, give your feedback. Please tell Joan what you think of this new cover, this new title. And Pamela, I'm just gonna go over to you if we have any questions or comments that we want to share.
No questions or comments yet from the Zoom chat nor from Facebook.
Okay. So Joan, I have another question for you.
Sure.
So now that we've seen this wonderful masterpiece, how do we order this book?
All right. So as you can see from this slide, we're having a pre-order promotion, which is being kicked off this evening. So immediately following the Facebook Live, you'll be able to go online and pre-order your very own copy. And as part of the special promotion, there will be a 20% discount when you order the book during this special period. So for right now, the only place that you can get the book is at joanhunderwood.com, because the official launch is not until December 11th, as I mentioned before. But for my followers and people who connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, etc., this is just for you that we're having this special promotion. And Val, I should mention that the book is available in 3 formats. All right. And so from December 11th, it will be available in electronic format, and it will be on Amazon and a number of other online bookstores. So that's the electronic version. There's the original edition, which is the black and white paperback. And there's something else coming up that I am really excited about. And that's the premium edition of the book. So what makes it a premium edition? Well, first of all, it's in color. And that's significant because I have a lot of models and diagrams in the book, and I use some really vibrant colors with them. So it is really beautiful. And at this point in time, I want to single out my publishing assistant, Make Your Mark. They have been fantastic. They came up with the cover, they did the interior design layout, and they've just given me a beautiful, beautiful product. All right, so I came up with the words, and essentially they did all the rest. So the premium edition, in addition to being full color, there's also the opportunity for you to customize it. And what do I mean by that? The first page of your premium edition can carry an image of your choice and a message of your choice. So say, for example, you wanted to give this book to a new manager in your life, or someone in your life who's about to become a manager, or even veteran managers. Because while I wrote the book for new and aspiring managers, the feedback that we've been getting is that veterans find the content really useful as well. So if you wanted to gift the book to someone, You could put in a photo, for example, of the two of you or of something that's meaningful for the two of you and a special message to the individual so that when they open it up, imagine they get a book, they figure, it's a regular book that everyone else has. And the very first page, they realize this is just for me. So when you go online to pre-order, if you choose the premium edition, you'll see that you can upload an image and the specifications required are provided there. And you can simply type in right there on the website the message that you would like to appear in your premium edition version.
So Joan, is there a minimum order number if you want to customize your book?
No, that's the beauty of it. The minimum order is one. So, like I said, if you want a special gift for someone, that's fine. Now, it's also available if you want to purchase in bulk. So, for example, I've had already a number of requests from organizations to purchase for their entire management team. And in such cases, I've said to them, so you can put in a logo, a message from your chairman or CEO, so that when you give this to your managers, you can really co-brand with UTDS so that it's both of us giving this message, this lifeline, this first aid kit to your management team.
Joan, it sounds like this would be a wonderful keepsake. So, I'm kind of excited about the customization option.
And it's just in time for Christmas. So it's a wonderful opportunity there with that. All right. And the premium edition is also subject to a 20% discount during the pre-order promotion.
So again, I want to encourage everybody, make sure to get in your pre-orders as soon as possible and take advantage of this wonderful offer. Now, I know in addition to this discount, Joan has something really, really special for all of you as well. So Joan, I think it's time you share with them what that is.
So in addition to the 20% discount, in addition to a fabulous book, if I say so myself, and I've been getting feedback because I've, had some folks read the book and provide testimonials, and you'll see some of that when you go to the website. You also will be entered into a draw. We're going to have a live draw right back here on Facebook and on Zoom on December 18th. And the lucky winner will receive a complimentary emotional intelligence assessment. Now, why emotional intelligence? It is the single most valid and reliable predictor of leadership success. There's some who say that as much as 90% of leadership success depends on your level of emotional intelligence. And so we're going to be sending the lucky person a link to complete an online emotional intelligence assessment. And it is a very comprehensive report that will help you, again, to take your management performance to the next level. But we're not stopping there. In addition to the complimentary emotional intelligence assessment, you will also get a 1-hour coaching call, one-on-one, with yours truly. So as a certified administrator of the EQY and as a professional coach, I will work with you to go through your report, help you to understand the information, and to make a development plan to help you level up. So typically this package would be valued at US $400, but again, because you're participating in a pre-order promotion, you have the opportunity to get it completely free. And as I mentioned, there will be a live draw on December 18th so that you can find out, but you got to be in it to win it. So you need to pre-order in order to be eligible.
Joan, I mean, this sounds like an amazing package. I mean, I honestly wish I could win it myself. So I think anybody who, whoever gets a chance to win this wonderful package, when you get your next promotion, make sure to send Joan a very lovely and lovely thank you note as a result. The time is chipping away very quickly. And so I just wanted to take a pause here and just to check in with Pamela and see if there are any questions or comments from our audience today.
No questions or comments on Zoom, but Maria Francis is tuned in.
Hi, Maria.
Hey, Maria.
And she says her baby with a very big thumbs up. So some support for you there.
Awesome.
Yes, and Maria is an old schoolmate of mine and, a real ardent supporter. And so she has already been following me, and, we've been having lively conversations about management. And, that's something, Valerie, that I just want to acknowledge that there are bad bosses out there in the world. Okay. And sometimes it's just the luck of the draw that you're going to end up with one of them. And so, to give you some insight about the structure of the book, it's actually divided into three segments. So, the first segment in the book is about managing self. And self awareness is the beginning of understanding. So, we all have blind spots. And the first thing that we need to do is to bring material from those blind spots into our known areas so that we can manage those issues. So the first 7 chapters of the book are devoted to managing self. We start with emotional intelligence. We look with emotional agility because we need to be able to manage our emotions and not be hijacked by them. We talk about developing winning habits. We talk about self care, and that's a really important part because we've already talked about what a stressful time this transition can be. And it's really tempting to go all out to put everything you have into it, and you don't take the time to take care of yourself. And one of my mantras is self care cannot be delegated. And I follow that up by saying you can't pour from an empty cup. So there's a chapter devoted to just taking care of yourself so that you're better positioned to show up and level up. So that's the first part of the book, managing self. The second part of the book is managing others. And managing people is the single most challenging thing you can ever have to do in life, but it also has the potential to be the most rewarding thing that you can do in life. And so we go through that, and I spend time talking about relationships. And there's an original model in the book, which I call my relationship building blocks. And I go through 6 elements that are essential to having good relationships, whether they're personal or professional relationships. And just to give you an idea, it starts with trust. Trust is a fundamental pillar for effective, successful relationships. And then after managing self, we then have managing systems and processes. And this is really interesting because one of the chapters in this third segment of the book is about meetings. And I mean, everybody has had the experience of being in a bad meeting. Why is it a bad meeting? You have no idea why you're there. There's no agenda. You just seem to be, spinning top in mud. You're making no progress. The meeting ends. You're not clear what happened, what decisions were taken, what happens next. And so I refer to those types of meetings as a hostage crisis. And so in that chapter, I go through what can be done to end the hostage crisis. Now, there's a chapter in my book that I never wanted to write, but the market research and my focus groups insisted that the book would not be complete without it, and that's a chapter on time management. Why didn't I want to write a chapter on time management? Because frankly, I don't think you can manage time. Time is what it is. What you manage is what you do with the time that's available. So you manage your choices, you manage your priorities. So my chapter on time management is not actually about time management. So those are the 3 segments of the book: managing self, managing others, and managing systems and processes.
Joan, it sounds like fully packed experience. And so, again, I just look forward to being able to unpick all of what you've shared when I have the book in my hand and I can, kind of go through the pages. And so, ladies and gents, I'm going to check in with Melissa. Sorry, Pamela again. My apologies, Pam. And are there any questions from our chat that you want to bring up at the moment?
We currently don't have any questions from the Zoom or the Facebook.
All right, so Pam, I'm going to ask you to put in the chat the link that, oh, So in order to take advantage of the pre-order, to go straight to the pre-order page, the link is there, and Pam has also put it in the chat. So you can also just go to joanhunderwood.com, and on that landing page, if you haven't already gotten one, you'll be able to download a sample of the book. So there's a complimentary sample that's available to you that you can download, and then you can move on to proceed to pre-order. And remember, you'll have to make a choice between the original edition of the book and the premium edition, which is full color with the option to customize it. The electronic version of the book will not be available till the formal launch, which will take place on December 11th. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Um, I've shown you my baby, my book baby, Manager's First Aid Kit, and it's my contribution to you, to all those out there, new, aspiring, and veteran managers. It's a, very accessible, practical guide to help you level up and fully, fully optimize your management potential.
Joan, congratulations again. Like I said before, I certainly can't wait to experience the therapies in a manager's first aid book. Just want to remind everybody, if you didn't have your questions, you want to leave a comment, you can do so. As promised, we will come back and we'll reply to all the comments that come into the chat after. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for joining us for Joan's big reveal. And we can't wait to be able to share the physical books with you once you place your orders. Congrats again and good night.
Good night.